Hello, and welcome to Are You Karate Kidding Me?
Your source for Karate Kid and Cobra Kai recaps, analysis, and items of interest from all around the Miyagi-verse. I'm Colin Kennedy.
I am Jenny Carlson, and welcome to our show.
And welcome to the show. This podcast, for those who may be just joining us as Netflix is about to drop Cobra Kai Seasons 1 and 2 on us, is a recap show where we break down every single episode of Cobra Kai, the Karate Kid, and everything that this podcast has coined the term Miyagi-verse.
Indeed. And we are excited to welcome you here in this month of August 2020 as we anxiously await the arrival of Seasons 1 and 2 of Cobra Kai on Netflix. The Karate Kid movies are already there. Some folks don't know what's about to hit them, but as soon as they start episode 1 of Season 1, they will be blown away, and we will be here.
What other items of interest are there from all around the Miyagi-verse?
I mean, I haven't been on Twitter much this week, but there is scuttlebutt about the new mobile game that is in the works with Cobra Kai fights happening.
That's right. No platforms or anything. I think we'll probably be reviewing the original Karate Kid NES game before we get to any mobile games. But
we'll find out.
We will see.
Indeed.
As far as our show is concerned, we're about to do episode 9 of season 2, which is Pulpo.
That's right. This is a recap and analysis of Cobra Kai season 2, episode 9, Pulpo, the penultimate episode of season 2. While I am somewhat frustrated by the still erratic pace of our episode drops, we are on track to complete our reviews of season 2 by the time Netflix drops those seasons.
That's right. And so then we'll just kind of be in hiatus mode while we wait for a announcement date for season 3, which still hasn't technically been announced as of this recording.
Well, hiatus mode, but I have heard you working on some wicked sound files for our impending Karate Kid 3.
That's
recap
right.
And analysis. I don't want to spoil too much, but that is also on the horizon. For those brave enough to climb that final mountain of the original trilogy.
That's right. And then we have to do the 4th movie of the original trilogy, the next Karate Kid.
We have a disagreement as to the level of engagement that we should give the next Karate Kid. I believe other podcasts have already reviewed it, but
I mean, we have to cover everything in the Miyagi-verse. Mr. Miyagi is in that movie, is he not?
That's fair, but then that means we also have to do the animated series.
Technically, that is true. I don't know if we're down for every single episode of the animated series because, boy, I watched a couple episodes to preview it, and it is a lot.
It's a thing. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. But I wouldn't put it past us to maybe do one episode on the animated series just to make sure that we've got our bases covered.
We can't seem to quit the Miyagi-verse. We'll
That's
be
right.
here for the duration. So
there you go.
I guess we should go ahead and usher in the episode. You know, we had an interesting time making this episode. We had some haunted technology.
That's true, so be on the lookout for that. But it's completely fixed now.
It's totally fixed. There's nothing broken.
Mm-hmm.
Totally fine.
Yes.
And beyond that, I hope you can tell in our voices the sense of momentum building as we know the dramatic conclusion of the season is nigh. Yeah.
So without further ado, you want to get into it?
Let's do it.
Let's get stuck in with Cobra Kai, Season 2, Episode 9, Pulpo.
That means octopus.
The Dick Van Dyke Show. Starring Dick Van Dyke.
Wait, that's wrong. What is that?
Oh, that was weird.
That's weird.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, Episode 9, Pulpo.
Pulpo.
That's my girl.
So, we're starting out with a good old-fashioned girl power montage.
That's right.
Sam and Tori are training for battle, and we're getting little clips of their, how would you say it, oppositional Cobra Kai versus Miyagi-Do training.
Every little vignette, they intercut between Sam and Tori training, and we see Tori scrapping at the dojo, basically, and Sam out at the beach with Robby doing her kata. And they're shot in such a way, beautiful photography as usual from Cobra Kai, they are shot in such a way that we see them training as if to fight each other, as if they're already heading to the All Valley as each other's arch rivals. And we also see a lot of relationship building between Robby and Sam, Miguel and Tori. Clearly, they are out with their BFF boyfriends training and flashing back to their fights with each other at the country club and at the skating rink.
We also get a couple of like quick little clips of Sam's philosophy.
Everyone's got a sob story. That doesn't give you the right to be a bully.
Versus Tori's philosophy.
Some people have it good. The rest of us, we have to fight for every inch of what's ours.
Just kind of a quick character sketch of the both of them. Both super aggro. And then we get a nice split screen of both of them. And then cut to titles.
What's really cool about this one moment is that Sam's got her smartphone with video of Tori working out on a rock amid the bonsai trees.
Bonsai tree.
Now we cut to the LaRusso manse, where Robby and Sam are coming in the kitchen door. Looks like they were out training together. They're coming straight from there. They're kissing and planning on telling her parents about them.
Yeah, Sam and Robby walk in. They're ready to tell their parents about their kick-filled love affair when they realize Robby's mom is here. And it's a case of mom interruptus, the very worst kind.
There sit in the living room the LaRussos and Shannon tearily tells Robby that her trip to Cabo was, the understatement of the year, a mistake. And Robby is angry when she says she's got to leave again, but that's because she's going to rehab. This is all very soapy. This is a reminder that we are in a karate soap opera, and yet I commend the writers and also the character of Shannon for wanting to do better and bringing her back in an intelligent way and wanting to do right by Robby.
In the scene, Robby's mom comes off as kind of like an evil Pam from The Office.
And I can't even take off my hat because then I'm Hitler.
But no, I think we get a lot of this scene. We could have easily left this character in the dust, but no, she's back to let us know that she's going into recovery. She has to, and she wants to change for Robby, but can she?
Indeed, we do not know.
Robby seems skeptical, to say the least.
Meanwhile, Shannon lets Robby know that Daniel and Amanda, who are also sitting right there, have offered to put him up. And she mentions that he could also stay with Johnny, and of course Robby says no. And Shannon, again to her credit, protests that her own issues have come between them, but Johnny does care about Robby.
Turns out she's there to let them know that the Fonzie arrangement is cool and all, but he shouldn't keep giving Johnny the cold shoulder.
So, now, cut to Reseda Flats.
That's right, Reseda Flats, or Casa de Carmen.
Where Carmen is getting ready for her date, and Rosa, her mom, tells her that she looks like she's hot for teacher. She goes to the door to find Johnny, and, of course, Johnny, not understanding Spanish, thinks it's a compliment when Rosa tells him not to get Carmen pregnant. Then they head off, looking very satisfied with themselves. Meanwhile, back at the LaRusso manse, Sam is chatting with Moon, explaining what happened with Tori at the skating rink. And Moon invites Sam over for later tonight, saying that she's throwing a party because her mom's out of town.
Sam and Moon are on a Zoom call. Little do they know, in about a year, that's all the calls they're going to be making to each other.
The karate fights on Zoom will be epic. Meanwhile, they conclude their call, and Amanda walks in, telling Sam that she and Daniel have a date that evening.
Amanda and Daniel have a date for dinner and dancing, and Amanda seems pretty energized about it.
And of course, this leads Sam to tell Moon that she is in for the house party at Moon's place.
Yeah, Amanda says,
whatever you do, have fun. Make good choices. I don't have to worry about you.
And it's always fateful in Cobra Kai when someone walks into a closet. And today, Sam is the one walking into her closet looking for party clothes when low on the floor she finds the giant stuffed octopus that she and Miguel won at golf and stuff when they were in love. Senor Octopus. The eponymous Pulpo.
The eponymous Pulpo, indeed. Yeah, when she encounters Senor Octopus in the closet, old feelings are stirred. Cut across town to Casa Bonita, the restaurant where Johnny and Carmen have already found their seats. Apparently they were smart enough to get there 15 minutes early.
Indeed, and they are talking about Miguel. Johnny tells Carmen that she should be proud of him, and she says,
I am. He's a good boy.
Johnny, of course, being chivalrous almost to the point of chauvinism, says,
He's a good man.
Miguel is a good boy. He's crazy about Elvis, loves Jesus, and America too.
wow. Here's hoping you won't free fall into any problems.
Nice.
And then Johnny says, well, that's how it is when you have this teenage drama. And then speaking of teenage drama, who walks up but Daniel and Amanda? This is where they're going for dinner and dancing. And to cut the awkwardness, Amanda introduces herself to Carmen. Daniel tries to find out if they can find another seat, but the only table available is the one right next to Johnny and Carmen. After a few moments of looking awkward, Daniel asks,
I don't know. Will it be?
And Johnny has to say,
It'll be fine.
and thus the two couples are seated next to each other for an awkward night of dinner. And accordingly, Amanda orders a Cadillac margarita.
Unfortunately, this is the only table available, and Amanda, always there to cut through the BS, notes that...
Oh, they have Warren karate dojos.
Meanwhile, at Moonbase Alpha...
Destination Moonbase Alpha. An epic adventure across the universe.
The Miyagi-dos arrive. Dimitri has a beat-up box of Trivial Pursuit with him, noting he should have brought Balderdash because there are so many people. And there are, in fact, so many people there that the Cobra Kai people are also there.
It's a case of awkward when all of Miyagi-Do rolls into this party and they immediately encounter their opposite numbers in Cobra Kai.
There's a lot of glowering going on, and no one looks happy to be there. When all of a sudden, here come the last Cobra Kais, Miguel and Tori, who've been standing outside. Even more glowering ensues.
Everybody's mad about it. Moon thinks that...
With summer ending and school starting back up, we could stop all the fighting and be friends again.
Who can't lay their grievances aside to enjoy some vegan pigs in a blanket together?
She tells Sam specifically...
Get rid of all this negative energy, clear your chakras, and have some fun.
I mean, she's not wrong. These people should just get along.
Moon, as Sam's BFFs, thinks she can broker a peace accord between Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do, like some kind of vegan Boutros Ghali.
Boutros Ghali.
Cut to the restaurant where everyone's getting their drinks. Daniel, Amanda, and Carmen all have the kind of cocktails you would get at a Mexican restaurant, but of course Johnny is drinking a Coors Banquet. And Daniel is throwing shade at that, so Johnny feels threatened and starts talking about how well his dojo is performing.
We're doubling down on the awkward here as Johnny and Daniel begin passive-aggressively comparing dojos.
Daniel says,
I love how passionate my students are. Sure, there may not be as many, but they have heart.
Johnny wants Daniel to know,
Bigger is better.
Yeah, well, it was just little old me at the All Valley. I didn't need an army, just the right moves.
Now we're back talking about the All Valley. And Amanda calls them out.
Okay, are you two done comparing class sizes?
Carmen then tries to politely strike up a conversation with Amanda, and they get along great.
Carmen talks about how sorry she was that Miguel and Sam broke up. Amanda and Daniel, with varying degrees of sincerity, say they too are sorry. And Carmen is also like,
I remember being that age, boy crazy.
Oh my God, me too. I feel like I was with a different boy every week.
and Johnny finds Amanda hilarious, as should we all. And that loosens the tension. And then the women decide to go to the restroom together.
Well, they take it to the next level and push the tables together. Cut back to Moonbase Alpha, where everyone's a moving and a grooving.
Some Fortnite dancing going on the carpet. And then who walks in but Stingray, dressed as a child with a woman his age who thought they were going to a party with adults.
The woman who's age appropriate for Stingray is a little bewildered to be at this teenage party. Things are getting increasingly crunk. Tori's out back, killing it at the one-leg keg stands. And who should come out but Sam, immediately catching Tori's eye. She walks up to Tori, and Tori challenges her, calling her princess.
Because Tori's a regular Han Solo.
Scoundrel. I like the sound of that.
Or a regular Lone Star.
There's only one man who would dare give me the raspberry. Lone Star!
Tori talks so much shit to Sam that Sam is ready to hop up on the stool and show that she too can handle a one-legged keg stand. Meanwhile, back at Dos Corazones, the women continue to get along, but Johnny and Daniel haven't quite let it go when the waitress comes over to take everyone's order.
Have you all decided?
They go around.
I'll have the tostadas de pulpo asado with no sour cream.
What can I get you?
I'll have the chili relleno, but with camarón instead of carnitas and extra cilantro. And no corn.
No. Oh, what a shame. I was hoping to feed a whole family. Maurice, free eats for everybody. Really? Shut up. Get out of here.
Yeah, that shouldn't have happened.
I don't get it.
That was another Carl Reiner thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
It's just stuck.
All right, anyway, moving on.
All right, then I'll have the exact same thing just to make it easier. With corn.
And for you.
I'm just gonna go with the Palo tacos.
Pollo tacos, great.
Actress swears that she has the women's complicated orders memorized. No need to write it down. And we can see that both Johnny and Daniel think this is bullshit, and in fact, she needs a pad and pencil.
10-1, they get something wrong.
Yeah, the server's deciding to try and do bits on Daniel and Johnny and company, insisting that she does not need to write down the order for the table. We'll see how that goes in a little bit. Daniel continues to throw shade at Johnny here and there for mispronouncing words like pollo, but Amanda tells him to cut it out beneath her breath.
And then the women decide to go to the restroom together, which is the age-old code for men get your shit together while we're gone. Meanwhile, back at Moonbase Alpha, the women are outside doing their one-legged keg stands. Well, they're not drinking straight from the keg. They're drinking from the red cups, endemic to all teen drinking experiences. And Sam's looking a little wobbly there, but then she makes it through. Stingray's age-appropriate date is understandably rooting for Sam, and Stingray lets her know,
Hey, we don't cheer for them. We hate the Miyagi-dos.
Yeah, Stingray's playing a little Edward Forty hands on his part. He seems to be the only one at the party doing so, which makes me guess it was probably his idea in the first place.
Meanwhile, indoors, Hawk spots a beautiful woman coming in and decides that he's going to make Moon jealous by hitting on her, or maybe just get some action of his own. He compliments her hair, and then she says she likes his. And so he says,
everybody wants to touch it. I always say no, but you can touch it if you want.
How generous. But just as he's about to put more moves on her, Moon walks up and begins kissing her because they, in fact, are a couple. Hawk looks completely baffled by the whole thing, and Moon awkwardly introduces them, confirms that they are, in fact, dating, and Hawk just sort of walks away deflated.
Hawk takes this development poorly. He's totally shut down, his fragile masculinity in tatters. Hopefully his boy Rico has a tattoo appropriate for fixing him up after this is all over.
Back at the restaurant, music is playing. Daniel and Johnny are sitting there awkwardly. This Mexican dinner couldn't be any more awkward if someone rolled up with a thing of tableside guacamole.
Welcome to Garduño's. My name's Trent. Can I start anybody off with some of our tableside guacamole?
Waiting for the women to get back from the bathroom, Daniel, trying to make conversation, says he's surprised to see Johnny in a place like this.
Why, you think I eat out of a dumpster or something?
Because Daniel knows that Johnny doesn't know anything except McDonald's and Coors Banquet. And then Johnny calls Daniel after throwing shade at him.
You've been a major pain in my asshole all summer.
You've been an angel.
And Daniel finally cuts to the point.
I didn't realize you were in the business of vandalizing dojos.
Of course, Johnny denies.
I didn't know anything about that.
And this could go on as sour grapes, but then Daniel mentions
that little stunt at Valley Fest too, right?
And Johnny acknowledges.
No, that was all me.
So he's winning Daniel's trust back. But Daniel isn't quite done. He tells Johnny that if
he ever shows up in my dojo again, I'm pressing charges.
And at this point, Johnny's confused because he knew nothing about Kreese showing up.
This scene allows Johnny to finally put some clues together, play detective, and figure out what Kreese exactly was up to while Johnny was out of town a few fateful episodes ago. He admits to Daniel that when Kreese showed up at his door,
I thought he could change. Turns out I was wrong, so I pushed him away. I want Cobra Kai to be better.
Daniel remains skeptical.
I actually think Daniel believes it. But the point is, the door is open now between Daniel and Johnny because Johnny says Kreese is gone for good, and Daniel sees that Johnny's being sincere. And the women walk up as Daniel looks at Johnny thoughtfully. Everybody's getting along, looks a little more relaxed, and man, those appetizers look good.
The appetizers look good. The margaritas look watered down, though.
Yeah, well, fair enough. The conversation turns to Robby, where Daniel and Amanda say that they're enrolling him because and Johnny agrees he never should have dropped out. Then the server arrives with all of their food, and looks like Carmen's order was wrong. They did, in fact, put sour cream on, and if the men see this as confirmation of the fact that, indeed, the server should have written it all down.
I knew there'd be something wrong.
Gotta write it down.
Gotta write it down. It's a rookie mistake.
Wipeout.
And now this is a screenwriter's clue that not only do they agree on how people should take orders, they also agree that they are both decent men trying to do their best with their dojos.
Meanwhile, back at Moonbase Alpha, Hawk is getting all kinds of truth bombs dropped on him as Dimitri drops by to share info about the new series of Doctor Who, like some kind of human IO9.
Yeah, Dimitri's asking Hawk.
Check out the new Doctor Who trailer.
And Hawk obviously hasn't. Number one, he denies that he watches nerd shit, which, I mean, come on, Hawk, that's who you are. Dimitri presses on, saying what relieved so many of us.
Moffat isn't the showrunner anymore. Wait, really?
This gets Dimitri's attention, revealing he still isn't a nerd shit, but he doesn't know the gender of the new doctor. In fact, as Dimitri confirms,
she's badass.
Hawk is super into this idea.
She? No way.
Should I look impressed right now? Is that impressive?
Except then he overhears Moon and Piper giggling, and the sight of even more women taking over the world and being with each other makes him feel left out. He's gloomy again.
Dimitri then tries to proselytize to Hawk, asking if he's heard the good word about Miyagi-Do.
I think you need a healthy dose of inner peace.
Hawk does not take it well.
No, Hawk dumps his drink on Dimitri's head, and everybody laughs. So this is a nice callback to the cutscene of the Karate Kid when Daniel dumps the blueberry pie on Johnny. Meanwhile, Dimitri's looking outraged as Hawk storms up. Outdoors, Sam and Tori are still going at it. Tori is trying to antagonize Sam. Sam insists she can do this all night. Then Tori calls for 2 shots of vodka to heighten the situation, even though both Robby and Miguel look worried for Sam. And Sam's looking a little wobbly. By the power of karate, she's using kata to stabilize herself. She can do this, and indeed makes it through another shot.
Sam's taking a huge risk here, violating Miyagi-Do's trust in her by using karate for evil.
Except that it's all for naught then, because Stingray, trying to encourage Tori, distracts her.
You got this, Tori!
And then she falls off her stool, making Sam the de facto victor.
Somebody couldn't hold their liquor, huh?
Of the drinking game.
It's a little bit Stingray's fault, but
all women have been screwed over by such enthusiasm from a dude at one point or another. Enthusiasm in quotes. Tori pushes away Miguel's offer of help and walks away to clean up. Meanwhile, salsa night is going swimmingly. Everybody's had their drinks. Everybody's ready to roll.
Johnny says, the last time I went 4 rounds with LaRusso, I caught a foot to my face. A nice callback to the original Karate Kid. And then the salsa music starts.
Daniel and Amanda head off to dance, and Carmen's ready too. She tries to get Johnny to go with her. Carmen insists.
I'll teach you.
No, I'm not.
I can be your salsa sensei.
Carmen wants to be Johnny's salsa sensei, so they step sexily to the syncopation. Johnny sassily assimilates Carmen's sensuous sachet.
Wow. Johnny, meanwhile, says of course he can dance about Daniel's moves. And of course Daniel can dance because Ralph Macchio is on Dancing with the Stars.
There's a lot of talent there. All 4 of us last night, I think, deserve to be there.
Carmen has Johnny look in her eye and helps him get his footing straight, and then the 2 couples start to have a blast as Johnny and Carmen get down. And I have to say, Johnny and Carmen truly do have excellent chemistry.
Oye, como va? Carmen and Johnny's dance here is probably 1,000 times hotter than the fantasy sequence from the previous episode.
Thank God. I'm happy for them and us. And it's just wonderful to see these 2 couples who are really like 4 friends just getting down and having a good time. Meanwhile, back at Moonbase Alpha, Sam is standing at the kitchen counter, trashed, leaving Robby in the position of being the responsible one yet again after so many years of taking care of his mom. Sam is angry at Robby for acting like a caretaker, and Robby just ignores it and heads off to get some food. But this leaves a moment for Aisha to come over and talk to Sam about maybe slowing down. And in this moment, Sam's holding on to some resentment towards Aisha because of Mr. Miyagi's medal and the trashing of the dojo, but Aisha denies it.
She's there to drop some truth bombs on our dear Sam and be the force of reason for one final push.
Yes, she reveals.
No, Miguel took it to your house. He said he gave it to Robby.
And Sam, who thought that the medal had been left on the dojo grounds, has just learned, while drunk as a skunk, that Robby lied to her. So rather than waiting for Robby to bring her food back, she wanders off into the yard. Back in the living room, it looks like the Cobras and the Miyagi-Dos might be getting along okay again, but then all of a sudden Dimitri is standing at the DJ booth.
I'd like to make a toast.
Apparently, he's been taking Toastmasters because he launches into I don't know, what would you call this? A monologue? A roast?
It's karate insult comedy.
It's the Comedy Central roast of Eli.
Dimitri's former binary brother. Hawk is prepared to attack Dimitri, but of course, the other Cobras remind him that Johnny says that
Johnny lords his Cobra Kai. Sometimes shows mercy.
That's right, sometimes. But then, Dimitri is up there on the PA mic doing his tight five of Hawk insult comedy. This gets Hawk riled up, and his fellow Cobras reminds him about Johnny's new rules. Meanwhile, back at Don Corazon's,
the two couples leaving for the night. The women are still thick as thieves, leaving the guys to stand and wait for their cars, talking about their new sense of truce. Just because they're competing doesn't mean that they have to be at war.
Daniel begrudgingly admits that
I saw you at the paddock before the second race. I saw you before you even got up this morning.
Sorry about that. Hang on. Oh, you know what it is?
What?
It's, I told you last episode we changed software.
Yeah.
I think the registration expired, so now it's stuck on Carl Reiner mode.
I mean, if I have to spend the rest of my life in Carl Reiner mode, I would be perfectly happy.
Well, that's fine. But no worries. I'll get this registered after we record today, and we'll have it worked out by the season finale, gang. Just bear with us. Thank you very much.
I'll always be Miyagi-Do, and you'll always be Cobra Kai. But that doesn't mean we have to be at war, right?
Kreese is the one who cares about wars, not me.
So they can have a truce. PolitiFact equals true.
They even shake on it after a moment to recognize the importance of that. And then here comes the Cobra Kai mobile, and Daniel appreciates the ways that Johnny has tricked it out to be badass. Meanwhile, back at Moonbase Alpha, Sam is sitting forlornly by the pool when who walks up but Miguel?
Miguel talks to a drunk Sam, who apologizes to Miguel and thanks him for returning the Medal of Honor.
Miguel looks defeated again. They have a couple of false starts, but she does eventually apologize for not acknowledging that he returned the medal.
Well, she says,
I didn't know you returned the medal. It was really important to my family and to me. So, thank you.
Yeah, Miguel says,
Shouldn't have gotten it stolen in the first place, so I'm just glad you got it back.
And Sam steps forward to say she does too. But then, of course, being drunk, she stumbles. And then, Miguel has to catch her. And then, oh dear, they're getting closer and closer. And yes, it's going to happen. They are indeed, yes, they're kissing. And there is no virgin alarm this time.
Well, goodbye, virgin alarm.
No, it reheats the hot and the smooching begins. Unfortunately, Tori is there to catch it from a kitchen window.
Neither Miguel nor Sam notice Tori watching, but we do. So we know that she knows, but what Tori doesn't know that we know is that Miguel and Sam are both already apologizing to each other and saying they're sorry, they didn't mean to, they shouldn't have. Sam walks off, and Miguel looks vaguely sick. Meanwhile, however, inside, Dimitri continues his TED Talk about the shittiness of Hawk.
And just as Dimitri is getting the light, he lets one last piece of info drop about Hawk, W/R/T, his bedwetting. At that point, Hawk loses it.
Screw mercy. You're a corpse!
There's about to be a rumble.
Oh, I smell a rumble!
And just as they're about to rumble, the cops show up.
Of course. And then cue one of the best aspects of any teen film, when the cops show up and break up the party and everyone runs around like a headless chicken.
I love it every time I see it. Cinema is replete with the cops show up to break up the party scene, and it's great every single time.
It is. It is. Robby comes to scoop up Sam. Sam says she can't go home because her parents would freak out. Meanwhile, neither Miguel nor Aisha know where Tori is, but they've got to get the hell out of Dodge before the cops arrest them. Stingray figures out that he can open the sliding glass door with his mouth. Who knows where his date's gone? Hopefully she's gone off to find adults to hang out with. Back at Reseda Flats, Johnny is walking Carmen to her door. They are flirting and very comfortable with each other. And then indeed they talk about next time trying something a little more advanced with their salsa lesson. And Carmen says goodnight, Johnny says goodnight, and then he leans in and gives her a pretty chaste but not unhot kiss.
I know. Sleep well, Johnny.
Me too.
And Carmen is just so happy, and it's a great moment. It's one that some of us shippers have been waiting for a while. And Johnny, of course, is now going to drink a celebratory banquet back home, although he's regretting that he didn't invite her in. He's regretting his own gentlemanly behavior when, lo, he hears a knock on the door. Thinking it's probably Carmen, gets up and asks if she misses him already, But instead of Carmen,
he's surprised to get a call from Robby and a wasted Sam LaRusso.
Johnny's faces all of us by this point in the season, as he and we all know that the new piece he just brokered is about to be smashed to smithereens. And now as the instinct flashes up, we know we just can't catch a break. And that is Season 2, Episode 9, Pulpo.
So.
Wow.
Jenny.
So much. I feel like I've aged 20 years in those 25 minutes. Colin, what are your impressions of this episode?
Okay, so, Season 2, Episode 9, the penultimate episode of this season, it really mirrors what we saw in the first season when you structure it this way, to where at the beginning of the season we have a status quo, we then shatter that status quo. The last couple of episodes have been building everything back up to where we get to this kind of good point again, at least for most of the characters. Certainly for Daniel and Johnny this episode.
Yeah.
The kids are all right too, but then some things happen at the last minute that kind of send them all scattering.
Well, I think the thing is that tension is building up for both the older and the younger generations of the Valley Karate world. And what that means is that while everyone has good intentions, if they're not processed in the right way, things can go horribly wrong. In the case of Daniel and Johnny, it's that it's not just between them, it's them and all of their students. And their students are also, in a couple of cases, their kids or their surrogate kids. As extensions of them, anything that happens with their children is going to blow back and affect the peace they've just brokered. Right? Mm-hmm. But what we know from watching Cobra Kai and the way it went down with Season 1, where they were literally singing Speedwagon in their car after wanting to punch each other's lights out in one episode. And then the next episode, Daniel was the architect of Johnny's heartbreak as he trained Robby to be so good, but then set Robby up in a situation where Miguel would ultimately defeat him. So, Daniel was a party and a witness to that, even though it was Johnny's own hubris that created that situation. Now we know, once again, the guys are going to come together, despite having much more bad blood this time. Not only will there have been more bad blood, but there will be much more excitement when they're friends, and they will spend almost an entire episode being friends, and all you know then is that things are going to go terribly wrong because those teenagers were not done being angry at each other when the cops arrived.
That is the trick. That is the magic trick that you want to do anytime you have a serialized show like this. It's like you're building in order to break. You set up a status quo to shatter the status quo. That's where the drama lies. And I think this episode hits a new peak as far as like what happens at the party specifically is pretty compelling, because we have Hawk boiling the entire party. He's unable to contain his rage when finally Dimitri goes off in a very Dimitri specific way. We have, on the opposite end of the spectrum, things have never been better for Johnny and Daniel. They seem to have brokered this new truce. They're back in good standing with their significant others. Johnny has a significant other for the first time in a long time. That's going to provide him, hopefully, with a lot of stability and a lot of what he needs or what he could not get from the series of fast ladies from the previous episode. So yeah, I think there's a lot of potential, let me say, with this. Like, they've set up a pretty interesting series of events that is going to send everything scattering in a new direction. And now all we have to look forward to with this season finale in the next episode is to just see how it's all going to unfold. And that's the real gift here. It's like, if you were watching this, if you had to watch a show like this week to week where it wasn't streaming, can you imagine having to wait a week to be like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen next?
Well, and the other thing that's so interesting about where we're headed is that in Season 1, we knew that the All Valley was on the horizon, right? Like, the second half of Season 1 was all about Johnny.
That's true. We had an endpoint.
Yeah, getting the dojo, making the dojo official for the All Valley and restoring its honor. And in this season, there is no All Valley. There is no big tournament. All we know is that school is about to start. And as Moon says, we all need to be friends again. And we also know that John Kreese is ostensibly gone, but no one can stop talking about him, particularly Johnny and Daniel. At that moment, both sides check in with their knowledge of Kreese. And the fact that that much screen time was dedicated to the men discussing Kreese, and that was part of their reconciliation, however long it will last, lets you know that Kreese isn't done. What we're going to have is a showdown of their own making that just comes out of all this bad blood and all these machinations, mostly from John Kreese, and then the way that he's turned those students in different directions. And then there is, of course, Daniel's paranoid management of the situation, and Johnny belatedly trying to help instill a sense of mercy in his students. All of those things are disorganized and very explosive. And so, this was a nice moment to check in on people's humanity and figure out where they are emotionally and relationally before all that stuff comes to a head. And also to think about the different ways you can use octopus symbolism.
Because you really, yeah.
I mean, there's Senor Octopus.
There's octopus.
Salad.
Salad, yes.
Which apparently tastes better without sour cream.
There's fishing scenes.
But not in this episode.
Not in this episode,
There's just, but for some reason, octopus is the...
Pulpo.
I also want to comment one thing, which is the intercutting between scenes is going so fast. And it's always been very, very tightly edited because of the length. But it's even harder to acknowledge all the good writing and all the cool moments because the whole episode there's no filler here. And as I was trying to figure out what I wanted to convey in this recap, I was like, there's just no way to get it all in the podcast.
It's very breakneck, but I think that works to its favor. Again, we're building that tempo.
As we approach this event horizon,
that's right.
Things will only speed up.
That's right. We're all going to fall in. Exactly.
Indeed.
All right. Well, with that, I think that wraps it up for today's recap. Join us next week when we review Season 2, Episode 10, the Season 2 finale, No Mercy.
No Mercy.
And we'll be leaving YouTube behind forever as Cobra Kai and Karate Kid move to Netflix, where they will be translated into every conceivable language under the sun. That'll be fun.
And no one will be able to escape the greatness that is Cobra Kai.
But until then, you can follow us on Twitter at Karate Kid Pod. You can check out us on...
You can check us out.
You can check us out on YouTube if you just search Are You Karate Kidding Me, the podcast.
And don't miss our badass TikTok video that we made with some of the other content creators.
Oh, that's true. Miyagi-verse. Yeah, come check us out on Facebook, where I've been a little more diligent in posting our stuff. We also post regularly over on Cobra Kai Companions page. Those guys are great. You can also check us out on Instagram. Oh, wait, no, that's the Karate Gals.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But they're great, too.
Yeah. Yep.
But anyway, until then, I'm Colin Kennedy.
I'm Jenny Carlson.
And we'll see you around the Miyagi-verse.
See you around the Miyagi-verse. This podcast has been produced and hosted by Colin Kennedy and Jenny Carlson.
Our music is by Chepo. You can find us at Karate Kid Pod on Twitter.
And wherever you download podcasts.